Okay, my last video, here we are ready to start Barbarian Kings and start the selection process, the setup, because the setup requires some play. My last video looks fuzzy and not very good. I think it's a U-turd problem and not my problem because I looked at the video on my computer, that I loaded up, and it looks fine. It may be that it takes time to process, and when things first go up, they're kind of not in as good a shape. All right, so I've created a set of different little cards that I'm going to keep track of what people own and whatnot on that. I don't think I'm going to use that for my movement plots. I think I'm going to do them on here, like a turn per sheet of paper or something like that. I have tons and tons. I mean, I'm just reusing shit, right? Mail and stuff like that I've got. So I have an overload of documents that just I'm willing to pitch. So I'm going to start with the white player here. Now, the first question is, what rules am I playing with? What am I not? And I think I'm going to play with all the magic. We'll see if anybody takes illusionary magic at all and how that'll incorporate. I consider it kind of iffy. Illusory units, they can be destroyed too easily. Invisibility can be very helpful of slipping you through somebody else's stuff, but I don't feel like this is much of a game where you're trying to slide through people's stuff to get at something else, usually. Detect illusion is fucking useless, so I doubt that anybody will take it, but that's okay. Maybe someone will. We'll kind of randomize things a little bit to see if we can get that. Movement, I'm going to use plotted movement here, but I'm very, very tempted to do the start with, I'm going to play 5-player, start with 2 provinces per player, like you would in a 3 or 4-player game. Simply because I feel like 1 province is not enough, and I'm going to do the serpentine activity. So whoever picks last gets 2 picks in a row, because I think that'll be useful. So the white player gets to pick his first province. What does he want? I think Chessa is the best province in the game. Nobody says they're even, so I'm going to put that down there, and I'll mark that over here with kind of ownership. Now I could do this in pencil, but I think I'm going to write it in pen. Jesus. Yeah, this isn't going to work very well. And I can't turn this over and scribble, but I can scribble up here. So that's going to be See, what's going wrong, I think, is I don't know what's going wrong. He's going to grab that. And, it would be kind of helpful to have control markers or something like that on the board, simply because it's kind of useful. These came out with 100 counters per game and tiny little maps to begin with. Anyway, I'll take that as my first province, and I'm also going to mark units that I have. So my king, I'm going to put down as 0101. This is really not, if I wasn't doing it in person, it might work better. And then I'll use pencil to indicate ownership and lack of ownership and stuff like that. Okay, so he's going to grab that. My second player is yellow. Now, this is where things get tricky. If I take Taradi, I'm in a position where I don't really have I'm at a risk of competing directly with him. Do I think Taradi is the next best thing, or do I think and Yakash with its high value is an option. Andersite, Yarrow are both 8-point places. They're of great interest. So I'm going to kind of randomize for this guy. But I'm not going to give him Yarrow because Yarrow is going to go to the green player. I swear. Yeah. I just insist on the colors being, somewhat matching. So the fact that he's the second pick, well, let's see what we get, and I may change the color that the person selects. So I'm looking at one, two, three, 4 places that are really good. 5 or 6 I have to think again. 3, okay, we're going to do Yarrow, but we're going to grab the green player's stuff for Yarrow, and he's going to get second pick. And I'm just going to mark that like this, so you don't have to watch me taking my pen to things. Third player, and already things are getting kind of tight. I think Andersite is the best place on the board. If I look on the best place for me, Therati actually is. I'm convinced of that. But the problem with Therati is that I might be competing with Chesia. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. I'm going to think some more. It might just revert through those, but I don't know. Okay, that would be a 5, Yakash, but I don't think I want to go with Yakash. Is there a 6 that I want to take? So barbarians aren't bad. The game's called Barbarian Kings, but they don't have high-valued places, which I find kind of disturbing. So I am going to grab Andersite because I absolutely refuse to take Yakash on a 5. So then the next player, and what's kind of a shame, I'm marking these black and white and black and G for black and gold, or B and Y, or something like that. The next player, what am I looking at? Well, now things are ugly. So let's get my order down so that I get the pick order on the other direction right. So we're going white, green, yellow, and now the 2 blacks get to go. And Yakash and Therati. Okay, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 for something else. I don't know what. And then 4, 5, 6 going the same way. I roll a 3. The next one's going to take Therati. I'll put that here. That's black and gold. And black and white has the last thing. Now, he could just grab Yakash. That's not bad. On a 1 or 2, I'm going to go for Yakash because there are a lot of 6-point barbarian spaces on the board, which are, not bad. But he gets a 3, which means he may be interested in something other than the things he's going for. Is he interested in Starhome? It's a nice ship. Okay, odd I go Starhome, even I go with something else. Starhome instead of Yakash, man, seriously? I get to take 2 things in a row. Let me think about this. Let me think about what I want to take. Because if I take Yakash with its orcs, and a 6-point place, or the 10-point. See, the problem with the orcs is they're really, really shitty being orcs. Stacks have become unstacked when I walk down the stairs. But by taking 2 places, I could take the orcs and something that is... What's the setup? Yeah, there's no setup. You have no troops to begin with. You have to buy everything at the beginning of the game, which is where things get kind of weird, but other people will be competing with me, and I don't know what order I'm going to do. I'm going to change the ordering of the troop purchasing. so that no one gets just screwed by, you get to pick your troops after the other guy gets all his. So somebody may get first pick of troops with a certain nation, but they're not going to, and this may be by plot, they're not going to be able to just buy out. So for example, if I took the orcs for 12, something like 18 bucks, I can lock out somebody who has this from building one of these from building anything else, right, in that territory, which is kind of goofy as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so let me think what I would want to do. Like, Yakash has a lot of points. If I'm going to take Yakash, I want something else with it. Maybe make myself land-born. Like, I really don't like the idea of Starhome. But if I'm going to take Starhome, I want something else with it. Something that justifies the points. So yeah, I'm going to go odd, even, because I just can't pass up that 10-buck pick. And if I take Yakash, I'll probably take this or this, depending on which way I want to go. If I take this, I'm probably going to take yet another civilized realm, which of course screws over everybody who's, you know, the other two players who have civilized. Yeah, I'm going to go with Starhome. And I may not start the king there. This is just that. And Penna. And I'll use this leader. I don't own that leader yet. I'm just using it to mark things so that I can get things back. Now that was black and white. That means black and gold has next pick. He's got Therati. And taking one of these two is very appealing. 1, 2, 3. We're going to grab Yakash there. It's kind of hard to tell the black and gold from the black and white. Pretty sure it's not any easier via camera. They do have numbers though, like 03, 03, this is 05. So we'll have that as a helpful thing. So that's black and gold. Yellow had chosen up here. I got the options of either barbarians or elves as being near me. I definitely do not want another dwarf. I want some diversity there. No one has barbarians. They're not worth as much as elves by a little bit, and their boats kind of suck in comparison. So I'm going to tilt it towards elves, even though there's another player with elves. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3. I doubt I want this. That's a little too isolated. Okay, so we'll take the elves at Syrah. I don't know if you see what I'm doing, if it makes sense, but okay. So that's yellow. That puts me on green. Now green has some appealing choices sitting around here. I'm going to go with Chivane, I think. I think that appeals to me. Not everything, you know, I don't decide everything by die rolls, right? Okay, so I go with Chivane for him, and that puts me on the last one, which is the pure white, which is down here at Chesia. He would have liked to have grabbed this. Finding a 6-point area near me is not trivial, i.e. there aren't any. I'm nicely isolated. The only thing I'm kind of in trouble with is over here. I certainly don't want to take this. And with the encroachments there and everything, do I want to be the only person with barbarians to start with? That's an interesting option. Odd, even. We're going to go with more dwarves, which was something I was considering. Yeah, that was where I was aiming to begin with, because dwarves are very good soldiers compared to barbarians, but they're expensive. And I've already got the expensive civilized forces. So maybe I would have been better off with a bunch of barbarians. I don't know. But such is. All right. At this point, we look at, well, we're going to write some stuff down. Just like I had here where I have the province written down and the king, etc. I'm going to do the same for every country. Opportunity. I'm skipping around a little bit in the sequence of setup to put barbarian infantry in all the spaces, they're all barbarian, that are valued 6 or more. These are going to defend that. That's all that's going to defend it. Now, normally, each player would only have one province in the 5-player game. Again, I don't think that's the most equitable way to assign things, and I also think that you want a little bit of diversity. It makes some choices like Starholm or Yakash more interesting than they would be otherwise. Otherwise, whoever's next to Yakash ends up just taking it for the big $10, right? And the same thing with Starholm. Whoever's near it just goes and grabs it. I've set up everything with the king, treasury, and the provinces that they own. Seems like I didn't remember to put everybody down. For each king, I have to decide what skills they want to take. It's kind of a complicated thing. Remember, tactical gives you a column shift for each level of it you have. That can make you very, very potent on fighting. March ability gives you extra movement points. That can be a big deal. I like tactical better. Retreat ability, ooh, that one's really iffy, right? I find that one sort of one of the least valuable. Then we've got mind magic, which is going to allow you, and we got to take a look at the different sets of magic here. Peeking at people's stuff's not too big a deal, but being able to take over people's units or to mind control their commander might be of some value. I'm trying to give an evaluation of how much I think they're worth. Elemental magic primarily is about freezing people's movement. Although you can whack somebody's tax base with it, which in a 2-player game might be very, very valuable to fire that off on the first turn of the game, take away a bunch of their money, whatever. Okay, fair enough. The next one is illusory magic, which I've already expressed my difficulties and not being certain how much I like it. And finally, there's necromancy. Necromancy only has one capability, well, 2 capabilities, really. Well, no, it's got 3 spells. Okay, whatever. You can kill things, and you can raise the dead after a battle. All right. Let me come back as I figure out how I'm going to determine these, because with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these, I don't feel like they're all equal, right? Like, taking 3 tactical makes perfect sense to me. Taking 3 necromancy does not. Like, I want maybe 1 necromancy at most. Taking a march and a couple of tactical might not be bad, stuff like that. But there are combinations that are going to work, some that aren't. And maybe I'll throw a little bit of role-playing in terms of like where these people come from, but that's absolutely not required at all. So let's consider each one in its own realm. I'm going to take this first one first. This is all secret to begin with. Black and white is sitting here on Starholm and Penna. What does that mean? That means I'm going to have a lot of high combat units and a fair amount of naval capability and some income. Quite simply, I feel like not taking tactical, at least some, is a horrible mistake because your king can lead troops and be very, very effective with that. However, this is one of the few that I feel elemental magic is particularly appealing to. So on a 1 through 3, I'm going to give him elemental magic. The reason being, he wants control over the seas. He's planning on being a naval power. He chooses not to go with that right off the bat. I might switch. After that, what do I want to consider? All right. Wow, it sucks not to have that if I go without it. One thing is you have no counters in this game, right? Like, for the most part. And again, this I feel like it was scratched together in, in a day or two, honestly. So much of SPI's work was done that way. But I've got the only thing that kind of counters is the harmony and cause bickering, and I kind of feel like I don't know which one is given. Cancels out bickering. Harmony cancels out bickering, but I think it just cancels it. I think it supersedes it, to tell you the truth. So it's just more powerful, which feels wrong. Okay. Let's see. They say cancels, though, but they don't say bickering cancels harmony. And I don't know. So, I'm still tempted towards the illusionary magic. How much tactical do I want? Gods. All right, let's roll a 1 through 6 for everything but illusionary and see what we get and see what goes from there, because I want to work with that. I'm going to take a retreat ability. Why would I want that? Well, I could be defeated in a battle, not have to retreat. Right? Is that what retreat ability allows? Like, multiple retreat ability allows that. If I'm defeated in a battle and I don't have to retreat, then I don't lose the space that I'm in, which could be very, very valuable. But let's see. Yeah, that's not what it is. It's when called upon to retreat. If I only take one of it, the owning player decides which province the losing players retreat to. But they can't retreat into enemy-occupied provinces. So I could push the enemy around with it. That feels almost pointless. I'm going to give them a 1 in 6 of taking 2 levels of retreat capability. All right, that's what we're doing. Now, I can write this down in pen, because my king is mine forever. Whatever mistakes I make there, I make forever. All right, at this point, I'm going with odd. I'm taking tactical, just because without tactical, I think we've got a problem. All right, so we'll take 1 level of tactical. All right, so that's 1 king accounted for. And I'm leaving these markers on here because they'll just help me find things right now. Maybe I should get some cubes. I need cubes. I need lots of colored cubes. Let me see what I got. So it ain't perfect, but I pillaged a couple of playtest copies. This came from Inventing the Future, which is a Rick Helly game. And this one came from Numbskull's Bull Moose. I had a playtest copy of that. And both of them I have playtest copies, which means I'm not having to pull something out of a box. I couldn't think of, I've got so many Euros, and I can't think of which ones, have 5 different color sets of cubes that would fit. So I went around and, wow. Keep stepping on things that I think are cubes that I dropped. I dropped some, but I think it was just 2, and I picked them up, but there's other crap on the floor. I can't really recall, hey, what's a game that has lots and lots of cubes that I could use? And then, I'm sure there are plenty that have 4 different colored cubes, which is basically what I'm working with both of these. But these come close to the colors I need. I've got yellow, green, black, and white. I had two different sets of whites. I used the bigger ones at first, then switched to the smaller ones. I like the smaller cubes better. I have some smaller blue cubes that I could have used instead of black. I could have definitely used the smaller green cubes, but I chose not to because it's a pain in the ass to get things out of the counter tray once they're in there. And I figure I'll deal as I deal. The only weird thing here is, so the blacks are the black and white player, the pinks are the black and yellow, because it just feels absolutely stupid to me that there's two counters that are black background. I don't know why they did that, why they didn't, you know, make a reddish color or something like that. This just, or a blue or something. They have plenty of colors to choose from without reusing the same one. All right, so what did I do? I've selected the black player's stuff. Now, when do I put his king on the board? I place it on the board as I choose it. I'm going to put him in Penna because Starhome is kind of a pain in the ass. It's really mainly there for my points, but I have to defend it against him. All right, let's pick our next one. This is the pink player. I noted here, just to make this a little easier on me. So what's up with him? Well, he's got a bunch of ground situation. He's in the center of the board, kind of. I'm not terribly interested in the elemental magic like I was with the other. I feel like taking a tactical is almost necessary, but maybe taking 3 is better. And how do I make the decision within here of what I'm going to take, what I'm not? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to roll 3 dice. Each, you know, maybe I make different decision-making processes for each one. Each odd die roll will be a tactical. Okay, so he's going to have 1 tactical. Now what do we go with? Mind Magic is definitely of interest. Retreat is of interest. March maybe less so. He is the Orcs. So let's see. 1, 2, 3... 4 on necromancy, making mind magic particularly interesting to me, right? I went, where did I go? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 or 6, I figure out something else. Well, we got a 5 or a 6. Okay. We'll hold that one off, and we'll do the other one. A 4, we're going to do a necromancy for him. So right now, this guy is going to take tactical, and he's got a necromancy. What else does he want? I've already really weighted tactical heavily. So I'm looking at 6 different skills. I'm going to roll a 1 through 6 down the list for them. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, elemental. If I came up with necromancy again, I wouldn't do it. So he has a necromancy and an elemental, which I don't think is terribly helpful, but we'll see. Now these, I put a parentheses next to, just like I did for the guy who had 2 of 1, and I put his skill number of 2 there. If he had taken one of these double, I would have to write it twice. And maybe I should put some little bullets next to them. These are the only skills you're ever going to get with your king. And when you buy leaders, you get a skill with either a hero or a mage. So it's a pretty big deal what you select for your king. All right, let's look at yellow. Yellow is actually yellow. This is excellent. I'll put him up here in the dwarven area, I think. So what is his feeling? He could definitely do some weather magic that would affect the ground situation. I consider him more of a ground guy. I'm going to do the same thing. 3 dice for tactical. Odds give me tacticals. I took 1 tactical. Okay. The other 2 dice, what am I most interested in? Mind Magic, Elemental, and Necromancy. I'll go 1, 2, 3 on those. 4, 5, or 6, I pick something else. 1, I was going to take Mind Magic. Okay. That leaves me the last one. I'm going to roll everything but tactical. This is very similar. Mind Magic. I guess we take Mind Magic twice. Is that sensible? I don't know. Let's look at what I can do with Mind Magic. I'm mainly worried about the cost more than anything else. So Mind Control doesn't cost me anything. None of these cost anything except for Allegiance, which costs 5 per unit, and I only have to succeed once. But doing a bunch of Allegiance early on, nah, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, I'm just going to take 1 Mind Magic, and that means I will roll a 1 through 6 on everything except Mind Magic, which means I can get tactical now. But I get a 6, I get a Necromancy. And again, you know, when players actually choose what they're doing, they're going to be more reasonable than this, perhaps. Or maybe not. It's hard to tell. Like, I'm really disincentivizing the illusionary magic, though. I don't think it's terribly valuable. So that brings me to the next guy, who semi-randomly is green. Green will definitely start on Yarrow. Now, I need a hero to move things, so because I have 2 provinces, I probably almost have to buy a hero for each of these players. It might be a little different if I've got them close together. They can move into other areas and consolidate or whatever, but having a hero might be of worth, which kind of means taking a single tactical is kind of weak, but as the game progresses, I probably won't have them as close together. What is green's feeling? Green is over here. I have water. I'm kind of interested in elemental. I'm definitely interested in tactical. I can use March at Sea. I can make my boats move faster with it. All right. I got to think about how I want to divvy this up. And I mean, you're not seeing the play of the game, man. You're seeing me set it up. What the hell? But I feel like this kind of decision making is kind of interesting, actually, in its own weird sort of way. Because of his position, here's what I'm going to do. Just like I did with tactical, 3 dice odds, but it means either tactical or elemental. And I'll re-roll based on that. All right, I got none of them. Great. All right. I don't know what to do then. If I was canceling some of them out, it would be kind of cool. I still have 7. I could just roll an 8-sided die. I don't have one down here, though, so that's no fun. I mean, I'm sure I do in something or another. So, now I'll do the roll again on 1s for tactical. I don't know. Don't know, make myself a combat master, maybe. All right. Is there anything that I want to throw out as totally useless? I'm not sure about retreat, and I'm not sure about illusionary, so I'm going to roll 1 through 5. If I get a 6, I might take one of those or something else. We'll see. Okay, I got 2 5s. That's double necromancy. Odd for that. Not going to do a double necromancy, but I am going to take a necromancy. What did I say I was going to take? Either retreat or elemental, maybe? All right, let's re-roll the rest at 1 through 6. All right, so tactical, elemental, and necromancy is what we're going to do. So I take a single tactical, elemental, which I kind of want it with these guys at sea, and necromancy. We have a necromantic elf. That doesn't feel right. But honestly, when I play this, I quite often go for this space for the elves and go for necromancy because I think it's a cool skill. So I don't mind that at all. Who's this? White. White. Oh, white is spread way apart. What does that mean? To me, that means March is of interest, to tell you the truth. Elemental is of interest. Tactical is of interest. So I'm going to throw 3 dice. I'm also going to put Mind Magic in there because I'm kind of interested in preventing, enforcing alliances with people. So I'm going to do Tactical, March, Mind Magic, and Elemental as 1 through 4. 5s or 6s, I do something else. Okay, no tactical for him. He's going to take a March. Because I think that'll be useful. And what did I get? I got a double Mind Magic. Not going to do that. Not going to do that. But I will take 1 Mind Magic, and then I'll re-roll for anything except Mind Magic. I'll take a tactical. I often go for double tactical. And we have a Mind Magic at 2. And you can kind of see the way I kind of randomize things. I randomize them as much as I can, setting odds in advance, but then I defeat them as I like, whatever. What did black on gold do? That is pink. He chose tactical, necromancy, elemental. I'm going to start him here, I think. Don't know for sure. Okay. And what else? Let's get the last guy, the white guy. Where do I want him? Do I want him to be a dwarven lord or a civilized lord to begin with? It's a big question. I'll put him up here. No elemental for him. Cool. Okay. Let's see what else we got. We placed the units. It's time to start the game. I don't think I'm going to start it. I think I'm going to load up a setup video because this is kind of goofy. I kind of wish, I was into editing and stuff so that I could put, hey, this is just the setup video. Screw you, man. But it's such weird stuff and it's not really showing the play of the game in any sense of the word. I am going to set up my plotting and I'll scope out kind of what I'm going to do with forces. Forces that a person owns. So I'm putting provinces somebody owns like this. I'll cross them out if they lose them. But I'm writing them in pen. And I'll do the same with forces. Forces that somebody builds, I'm going to write down in order. Now, for plotting, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be dividing the sheet up and writing for each power, each of their leaders, and plotting whatever they need to do. But I might have to do things like plot magic and whatnot within there. Anyway, let's load this one up too. I know it's a silly video. I just don't want it blotting out the play of the game, when really so much of this is me figuring out how to cope with a game that doesn't come with control markers, where I have to write things down, but people don't have an easy way to do it. Now, I could slip this into, you know, into like a plastic sheet and color in areas people own. But honestly, the seas and the land areas end up all looking the same. This is just a photocopy of this, which is also not very... Oh, they're assuming you're supposed to plot movement on this? Yeah, good luck with that. I find written plots, just writing down the text, as being a lot easier. All right, we'll load this up. And I don't know if I'm going to actually start playing the turn yet.